Round 2 in our Zoom Racing League division is here. And to kick off the weekend, as usual, this is Division 1. And we've had great action so far this weekend with Division 3 and 2 was raced yesterday. And Sundays is always reserved for Division 1. Tonight's showdown happens in Budapest, a Hungaroring, a 14-corner technical track that spans for 2.72 miles. Is sure to push our drivers to their limits. Division 1 drivers are going to be pushed to their limits absolutely over here, and they have been doing so all week. I've seen a lot of drivers practicing over here quite a lot during the week. 14 corners, we've got double DRS zones right in the pit straight and after turn 1 as well. It's not easy to overtake here, but the double DRS zones will allow that, and definitely a lot of wheel-to-wheel action in the first sector. It's Sean Ranger here with Nathan Doan as usual. Division 1 action tonight, guys. It's bright and sunny for qualifying. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I'm sure I already told you, but I'll actually lead this in with the rest of the reserves, but I got my man number 1 OG in the McLaren in place of Major Castleman, and then we have Ethan Patel in for Hector and Max in for Freddie Razzle, that fraud. So yeah, those are our reserves, but I'm doing very well. How about we go through the standings here if you do have that on?
I definitely have. You want constructors or drivers first?
Let's do drivers.
Let's go.
Alright, so we all know the man. We know that he's been one of the best drivers in Zoom Racing League in the past few seasons. It is none other than Hudson Poole leading for Mercedes, 35 points of course. Behind him, the Williams of Marc-Valier Bastien is in second. After him, Chad Swindell, another probably title contender here. After him, another one, Eric Carvalho. Then the main man himself, Cam Bourne from America in fifth. Good showing from him last race. Then after that, Hector Ochoa not here today, so he won't be able to improve on his standing position. After that, it's Caleb Levins in the Red Bull and Aaron Altmaier in the Aston Martin, team principal of course. Quentin K, who I expected to be higher, honestly. It is what it is, but he's ninth right now. After him is Colin Edwards in the AlphaTauri. After that, Major Castleman in P11 with 9 points, also not here today, so won't be able to improve his standing position. After that, the Williams of Magnussen Cube. After that, Paul Mariage in the Alfa Romeo, Johannes Ludwig in the Ferrari, Sid in the AlphaTauri, Maxime in the Aston Martin. Hopefully he does have a good race. Every time I've told him to have a good race, he has his moments, so maybe he just did it again for him, but it is what it is. After him, Freddie Razzle, also not here today. 3 points. I think he was 17th with the fastest lap, so that's why. After that, it's Darth Vader or Sean Moriarty. And after that, Marcel Paps, DNF, and Ryan Noon did not start, but he is here today. Then we'll go through the constructor standings. We have Mercedes leading with Red Bull right behind them. Alpine 1 point behind Red Bull, and Williams 3 points behind Red Bull. McLaren in 5th with 29 points. After that, it's Aston Martin and AlphaTauri 1 point apart. Then Haas with 13 points, Alfa Romeo with 10, and Ferrari with 6th. And right now, we go back to qualifying as the first man into the 14s and the fastest man on track right now is none other than Quentin K. Oh, okay, well there you go. We also have, I keep on forgetting who this is. I think it is Marc-Valier Bastien, right?
In the Williams, yes.
Yeah, so he is P1, 114.979. I don't think we saw any 14s in Division 2, so already a step forward from what we saw last night. Let's see who else has put in a good lap. Chad Swindell is in third, right after him. Cam Bourne P6, good showing from him, but we do look to see our title contenders to see if they're doing any kind of laps right now. Max, who is looking on course to maybe win the Division 2 championship, is coming through the final sector now. He's got this tricky left-hand corner that does have plenty of camber, and he goes second gear out into third, and then one more corner. The right-hander swoops around a whole hairpin, but a bit wider than your normal hairpin, and down to the line now. What will the time be for Max? It will be a 1:15.717, good for P9 at the moment. Let's see who else we have. We have Johannes Ludwig in the Sector 1, but Ryan Noon just crossed the line, and I think he may have invalidated his first lap, so that is why he did not jump up the timing boards. But Johannes Ludwig. So, John Ranger, tell me a little bit about tires here in qualifying. We do see two drivers on the medium tires, and those are both Ferraris. Do you think that's a good strategy if you want to save maybe a set of soft tires for the race?
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. Probably going. You want to have it helps going out 3 times in qualifying. Last night in Division 2, I only went out twice to save myself a soft tire, and honestly, I think I would have liked to have uh, a first outing on the medium tire just to kind of like get the feel of it. So I think that's what Marcel Paps and Johannes Ludwig are doing. Two Ferrari drivers following the same strategy there, and you might see them go medium, soft, softs during qualifying, and potentially a very similar strategy in the race. And racing wise, the strategy for the race could vary from driver to driver. I did a two-stopper last night, and let me tell you, it worked very well for me, going soft, medium, mediums, and so we'll see. We'll see how those go. But I think these drivers are on top of it, and they've been practicing quite a lot. Quinn and Kay, by the way, in the Haas, is top 50 in on the time trial boards for Hungary so far. So I think he's able to get an even better time. And Maccabi Bassin, that's also a blistering time at 1:49 for a controller driver. That's quick. That is very quick. So it might last weekend we had definitely Chad Swindell versus Hudson Poole. Is that going to be a repeat performance of them two versus? I think a lot of other drivers are going to be fighting. I said last week, I don't know if you remember, Nathan, but I definitely was talking about Marc-Olivier Bassin, he's going to be out there for a couple podiums this season, at least, if not a win. He's able to do it, and I think already on the banker lap at a 149 is kind of showing his potential there already. So 10 minutes to go in the short qualifying. A couple drivers did their first laps out as well already, but a couple drivers have not established a lap. I'm going on board here with OG, your man, replacing Major Castman. We've got a couple reserves, by the way. We do have OG Cabalori Hart. OG, as we've known him, he's been a long time driver for ZRL. We have in the Alpha Tauri, we're going to see Stelios Repas as well. We have Max in the Alfa Romeo. And was there another? Oh, yeah. In the Alpine, Ethan Patel is replacing... He's replacing somebody. Who the heck is he replacing? I need to go up with the standings real quick.
Gotta
figure that one out. Hector, you're right. He's replacing Hector Ochoa, who, by the way, Hector Ochoa last weekend. Let me pop up the standings real quick once again. This is his best race finish. I think he finished P6. We're very much used to seeing him last season around P10, give or take, 2 positions. I think he's finished P8 a couple times. That was pretty much his best. But now last weekend was his best finish, being P6, and a great race for him. There was a post-race penalty, right, Nathan? Chad Swindell finished about 400ths behind Hudson Poole for the win, right? It was a really tight race at the end there. However, he did get a 3-second time penalty for an incident in turn 1. And on lap 1, turn 1, actually, in the beginning of the race. And so that cost him a 3-second time penalty there. And so that basically gave Marc-Olivier Bastien the P2 for last weekend. And so, Marc-Olivier was fighting for the win all of last week as well. And so he's put himself in a position. And here he is currently on a fast lap, but there's couple cars in front of him, but everybody in front of him is on fast lap. So we're about at a little under 8 minutes to go. I don't know if you want to bring us on board, Nathan. We've got Marc-Olivier Bastien currently. Let's see how much he could improve his time.
Yeah, Hudson Poole also about to finish his lap. So we go on board now with Marc-Olivier Bastien. He's going through the chicane now. He's a bit wide off the first apex, but does hit the second one nicely. You want to take a bit more curb than he did there, but it looks like he's carrying plenty of speed through there. Taking it wide onto that left-hand curb, then you want to hang left, and then swoop right into this fast right-hander, just barely lifting off the throttle. Then brake very deep into this next corner. Marcel Paps goes fastest, 114.850, but I think the man we're on board with right now can beat that. Into this tricky left-hander, and he takes a lot of speed into that and takes a good exit as well, so good job from the Williams across the final corner now. Will that be a good lap to put him P1 for now? Will it be good? It will be good enough for only P3 because the two drivers ahead of him, Marcel Paps and Chad Swindell, have just a tiny bit more in their pocket, both all in the 114.8s, but just the small margins are what are really separate these drivers right now. Hudson Poole, who we were expecting to be in title contention, needs to bump up the pace a little bit because he is P14 right now with a 115.686, which is over 8 tenths slower than P1 right now. So if he wants to bring any kind of fight to Chad Swindell today, he's going to have to go just a tiny bit faster than that.
Yeah, definitely, but disappointing for now, although there's plenty of time for the likes of Hudson Poole and Ryan Newton as well. Just trying to see if I could catch him on board. He's about to start a fast lap again, so we'll follow him on this time as well. I think he went for a double warm-up lap. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to go. I think that's what he did, but we'll see. Ryan Newton is going to try to get a lap in. He's the last driver to get a lap in so far. He's going out in Sector 1. So currently we're sitting with Chad Swindell on a provisional pole at 114.8. A little under 500s behind him is Marcel Paps. A great lap for him. Marc-Henri Bassin, Quentin Kay, and Eric Cavallo follow for the top 5. Noticeable mentions for Aaron Altmaier being P6, Cam Bourne P7. Look at Cal Blevins P8. That's a great position for him as well. And so, like you mentioned, yeah, definitely the good showing so far for the Red Bulls. And I would mention also the Haas because we have in 9th place, we have Sean Moriarty, who's also, within the top 10, and he was a later pick in this draft. Final sector, we're going around turns 13 now, the second to last hairpin, and then turns 14 for Ryan Newton. We'll see what kind of lap he's able to put up. He's going to want a massive lap here. And across the line, he's going to go, and that's going to be a 115.0, good for P6, and so he bumps down Aaron Altmaier in the Aston Martin. And 115.0, he's just a little behind Eric Cavallo, so that is a great lap. And look at Quentin Kay, who's next across the line. That's a 114.6, a little under 2 tenths from Chad Swindell. There's under 5 minutes, and so Quentin is going to have time to go down to back into the pits and have another shot at trying to improve his lap time, as well other drivers. And so provisional pole is at Quentin Kay.
Yeah, so the Hungary, right? It's a very interesting track because a lot of people hate it, but for the drivers that it really suits, I'd assume Quentin Kay is one of those. It really, really performs here. Quentin Kay, I mean, 114.634, about 1 and a bit tenths faster than P2 at the moment. I think this track is just really, it suits him well. I was going to say something else, but it's a bit outdated, the saying. But we have a few other drivers out right now, so OG is just about to start his lap, but I don't really know what he's doing right now because while he is starting his lap, he doesn't have time to go out for another one after this, so he's just picking really interesting times. Maybe he just wants a clear track, and right now he does have one, so it looks a bit wide through turn 1, gets good power on the exit, though we'll see if he improves at all in sector 1. I think he should. Another man on a lap is Maxime, but that's an out lap. And Johannes just ahead of the McLaren right now. We'll see him pop into frame maybe on this lap, so around 1/10 faster than his first lap is OG. Around sector 1, takes it into third through the right-hander, very tricky corner, especially on low gears. Doesn't affect him whatsoever though. Through the chicane looks nice, and through this left-hander takes very good speed, 4th gear, and doesn't take a lot of exit curb. Probably should take a bit more. Through this right-hander, he will keep it on track. Very easy to lose it there. He's about, 3/4 of a tenth up on his time, or down on his time, I should say. So through these final 2 corners, this is where it's going to really count. If he improves 4/10, he'll gain 1 position, and I don't know if he can even do that. So we'll see what he can do as he crosses the line. It will be a 16-1, so he stays P19. And then here come all the cars out onto track. Johannes Ludwig, another man on a hot lap. He'll have some traffic ahead of him going through Sector 1. There's the Williams. I believe that is a Magnus Cube on the left. Getting out of the way very nicely. To this right-hander, easy flat out for any F1 car. And this will be one of the first hot laps of this kind of time during qualifying. One of the last runs that we see from all these drivers. AlphaTauri getting out the way. But out of all these drivers here, right now going on their outlaps, John Ranger, who do you have on pole position?
Oh, it's going to be Quinton K for me. Quinton K spent the entire week putting a lot of time to practice, and he definitely was not happy with the situation he was involved in Silverstone. And he did recover well in his race, and didn't go as his couple incidents and spins kind of ruined his race in Silverstone, and he felt he had a lot of pace there. So Hungary is one of his better tracks. We're going to have Johannes Ludwig cross the line in just a second here. We're going to see what kind of laps he gets, and that's a 159. Disappointing drive there for the Ferrari driver, and we're in the final minutes, and most drivers behind Johannes are actually starting their fast lap currently. Most of them, as he's just letting by, I believe that was Magnussen Cube, get on board with him. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on him because he could pull in a fast lap. Currently sitting P13 at 1:15.3. Look at the lap times, how close together they are. Cam Bourne and Cal Blevins, by the way, have exactly the same lap times, 1:15.319. And if you look further down, from Stelios right past to about Max, or even Ethan Patel in P18, I mean, there's not that much difference in time. I mean, we've got 0.5 and 0.6 and 0.7. I'll go to Max about there. So that whole bottom grid could completely shuffle around. And on top, we've got 3 drivers in the mid to high 114s between Quinton, Chad, and Marcel. And so this grid is not set as it is yet. Magnussen Cube is going around turns 13 as he's about to do so. We'll see if he can improve his time. Looks like he was doing a decent lap so far. Into turns 14, keeps a lot of speed there. Officially, nobody else could be starting a fast lap, so it is done for OG. He's going to be P20. And Magnussen Cube does improve, and that is good for P10. There is an Alpha Tauri in the back going in it, passing the line, and that is Colin Edwards. And next across, it is Ethan Patel. This time he is P15. We'll see if he keeps that position. Oh, there's an AlphaTauri in the back that seems to have either stopped on the grid or have a spin. So Maxime Beaulieu is next. We'll see where he improves. That is P12 for him. A Red Bull across, Kyle Blevins, P7, 115.125. Hudson Poole. Oh, Hudson Poole, rather disappointing. He's P9. So really disappointing for him. We would expect him probably a top 5. We know his race pace is really strong, but that is it. That is that. Quinton K did not improve his time. 1:14.6 is still the time to beat. Cam Bourne is next across the line, and he is P10. We've got an Alfa Romeo in the back. That was Max, who's in P13. Who is left to go? I believe there's Chad Swindell, who's 1:14.8. And we have Sean Moriarty, who is P10. And that is that. Eric Cavallo has improved greatly on his time. He's going to start P2. And so your pole position goes to Quinton K, 1:14.6. Look at the difference between him and Era. There's not a lot of difference. Just a little under 400 between him and Era. And so that will be a really interesting race start between these two drivers. Chad Swindell and Marcel Paus also very close times. And so P1 to P5 really are the top 5 drivers who are in the 114s, and that is incredibly fast, by the way. Even for Division 1, 114s. Good job, boys. The rest of the grid really tightly between Ryan Newton all the way down to Campbell. There's just about 1 second difference.
Yes, exactly. So there is quite a run into turn 1. But out of all of these 6 drivers that are arguably in the fight for even the lead of the race out of lap 1, there is plenty of contenders that we could look towards. I mean, we have Quinton K, of course, he's a pole man. He has the biggest advantage out of everyone. I don't think we'll have a formation lap here, as we do have lots of bugs with it. Yeah, okay. So, as we saw in today's race with Max Verstappen going down the inside into turn 1 with a great start, I think Eric Cavallo could be looking to do the same exact thing. Other than that, though, we have Chad Swindell, who could definitely challenge for that. After that, Marcel Paps, Marco Bastien, Ryan Newton, Cal, Aaron Altmaier, Hudson Poole, Sean Moriarty, and then Camborne, Magnuson Cube, Tomic, and then the list goes on and on and on. But I think this list won't matter for now, because I think we have lots of position changes to go through. Looks
Yep.
like a very nice and sunny day. And you know what goes good in the summer. I think it's time to crack one open, John Ranger.
Oh yeah, it's been a hot day over here in Montreal as well, so definitely deserved my beer tonight. There
Definitely
you
deserve
go.
my Coke beer as well.
Definitely, I'm sure the boys had a cracked one open too, because it's very hot in Hungary today, and so the weather definitely reflects the Division One weather here. So as you mentioned, no formation lap. A couple bugs have been happening. Division 3 and Division 2 had to reset lobbies. Hopefully that is not the case for Division 1, but we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully everything goes all right. And so we'll be away quite soon in this situation. And I think Quentin K is ready to make an attempt. I don't know if he'll succeed, but he's definitely ready to make an attempt at running away, getting past the 1 second DRS timeline before lap 3, basically. As that is when the DRS activation zones will be active. And so I think that is a strategy. We'll see how other drivers go for it. I'm expecting the top 5 drivers to go on to medium tires. We'll see a lot of mix-ups in the back between mediums and hards. I don't know if many drivers will go to the softs. I'm seeing some strategies for some drivers go long on the softs, and we're about to see that. Is that an Alpine on softs? I believe that is what I'm seeing. We'll see about that in just a second. The lights are out, and away we go. The Hungary Grand Prix is underway. Keep an eye on Quentin K and Eric Cavallo. Let's just look at their tires real quick. And yes, Eric Cavallo is on soft indeed. And he's going to try to make the position. He's on the inside of Quentin K. Does he make it stick? He does. He claims the lead, just as you predicted, Nathan. But Quentin K is going to stick it to him. He's trying to keep up with him as well. There's a situation in the back as well. It is Johannes Ludwig. I believe both Ferraris. I'm seeing a Ferrari of Marcel Paps completely drop down, and Ethan Patel and Johannes Ludwig, and a lot of drivers in the back having situations there. Already, Ara and Quentin are kind of pulling away from the pack, so we're going to have 2 drivers to keep an eye on for now. Ryan Newton in P3, Cal Blevins. Look at Cal Blevins already in P4. I believe he started P7. Yeah, he started P7, like being P4. Great start for him on the hard tires, by the way. Absolutely great launch for him. Marco Bastien, P5. Hudson Poole also gained a couple positions. I believe gained 3 positions in the Mercedes. But other than that, the other situations in the back. Chad Swindell. Oh, Chad Swindell's missing a piece of his wing. Oh, that is unfortunate. We didn't catch it exactly, but yeah, he's gonna have to pit, and something else has happened, and now we have Ryan Newton also in the pits.
Yeah, he almost missed the pit lane entirely. So I know what happened here into turn 2. So I saw a Ferrari around, and I also saw a Red Bull around, crucially, as you probably heard me say. But Ryan Newton around into turn... Actually, no, he wasn't around into turn 1. I think that was actually Marcel Paps who was around into turn 2. And then Chad Swindell also got caught out. I believe that's by Ryan Newton himself. So that is why those 2 drivers are down the order quite a bit. After that, that is pretty much what happened, but our position gainers is, of course, Eric Cavallo into the lead, Marco Bastien into P3, Kyle Blevins, as he said, from P7 on the hard tires, a good showing from him. After that, Hudson Poole made up 4 positions to be a bit closer to where he needs to be for title contention, which actually shouldn't be too much of a problem, because his rival is round about 30 seconds behind him. After that, it's Camborne in the McLaren. Great showing from him so far, you know, I'd like to point that out. And Alfa Romeo, the reserve driver of Max for Alfa Romeo, as I just said, and then Maxime right behind him, up 8 positions, the pair of them. After that, the 2 AlphaTauris, Colin and Celius Repas, both up good positions. After that, it's Sean Moriarty and Aaron Altmaier, both losing positions, but after that, it's Atomic, who hasn't lost a single position whatsoever. Magnus QP14, Marcel 15th, OG into 16th. What a great man he is. Johannes Ledvig into P17, and then the 3 losers of this competition so far. And a position change into turn 1 between Cal and Hudson Pool, but Cal is trying to fight this one back. Will he go around the outside into turn 2? No, he won't. He thinks better of it, but he's been hit by Cam Bourne into turn 2, and he's completely around, and that causes a bunch of carnage behind him. And so now Cal is dropped down all the way to, I think he'll drop down to 17th, and that is from one little bit of contact alone from, I hate to say it, but it's from my man himself, Cam Bourne. So he will have lots of ground to make up because, of course, he'll have a penalty, but also will Kyle Blevins have lots of room to gain because he's on the hard tires. This is what he needed. He needed to be up these positions, and now he's all the way down in the order.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at the number of situations and contacts happening within the first 3 laps of this race. Usually the one gives us a lot cleaner driving, but unfortunately for a couple drivers, some rear bumps and really unfortunate situations. Now we're seeing Red Bulls who are having a really good performance on qualifying, right? Currently sitting P17 and P19. And as far as I understand it, to no fault of their own. What was weird and interesting, I noticed the Mercedes of Ryan Newton, he went into the pits earlier, and now he's sitting P18. He went for the hards, but he never had to change his front wing. So I don't know what warranted him going into the pits, unless he's going back into the pits and to fix his... Oh, I think he is. He's back into the pits. I think he's going to fix his wing, so probably the damage wasn't heavy enough, but he's going straight to fix it again, and that kind of explains everything. So unfortunately for him, that is... Oh, he's going to be hoping for a safety car. And what kind of tires is he going to put on this time? He looks like he's putting on the softs. So he had the mediums, he did a lap on the hards, and now he's going on the softs. And man, that is quite unfortunate for Ryan Newton. So big winners and big losers so far. If we look at the position changes, look at this. Look at the top. Hudson Pool gained 5 positions. Cam Bourne 6. Obviously, that's going to be looked over with his bump in the back of Cal Blevins in turns 3, I believe. Otherwise, we have Max and Bollier and Stelios Ripas. All 3 drivers who have gained 9 positions already. So back of the pack drivers are now in the front because the front got maybe a little too excited trying to overtake each other. And so now we're seeing the grid just completely flip from what the qualifying was. At the exception of our top 3 drivers, Eric Cavallo's running away with it so far with the softs. We'll have to keep an eye on that how long is he going to go on those softs? Because eventually the medium tires of Quentin K are going to have much more performance than Era. The softs are very, very strong in this race. However, once they drop off, once they lose their performance, the drop-off is almost immediate. You could absolutely feel it. And this is a situation going from bad to worse for Cam Bourne. He's the first driver to get a 3-second time penalty. Add that to a potential, or probable, I would say, 5-second time penalty he might get after the race from stewards. That is not a good showing. And we're only lap 5. You've got 30 more to go. And you got to keep it on track. Just had a little bit of a wiggle there. A bit too much throttle on the curves. And so Cam Bourne's got to get his head down and focus on the positives on this race so far.
Yes, so right now we have a bit of a DRS train from Stelios Repas all the way down to Marcel Pabst. So how about we go on board with the AlphaTauri of Stelios Repas now, because he's got his teammate right behind him as well. So maybe as we look for an overtake from him, we could maybe see the other AlphaTauri follow him through. So onto the DRS, onto the battery now as well, into turn 1. Will he have enough speed to go alongside it with the Aston Martin? Yes, he will, using a bunch of battery, and he's through into turn 1, leaving his teammate in the dust, arguably, though. And Colin Edwards will not be able to get anything done on this occasion. Behind him, do we have any action, though? It doesn't look like we do. So that is the only overtake made out of this big group so far, but I think we will have plenty more coming soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think Division 3 and Division 2... Oh, I'll speak for Division 3 mostly because I broadcasted that race. It was rather much of a DRS train for a good part of the race. Once the pit strategies came into play and around the 5 last laps of the race where tires starting to not perform so well and drivers had to struggle a bit, that is where we got the most action. And so that'll be something to keep an eye on. But as so far, and another thing we got to keep an eye on, and it's Quinn and Kay, who's on the verge of getting back into the DRS of Eric Carvalho here. He's at 1.0 so far. He can't get into that 0.9, and there's another 3-second time penalty, this time to Magnussen Cube in P13, and so that's unfortunate for him as well, one of the soft tire runners. So it's a very mixed up grid in regards to strategy, Nathan. Half the, like, it's basically a third all around, at the exception of the last 2 drivers who had to pit early. But we have a third of softs, a third of mediums, and a third of hards, just about. What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of different strategies around the Hungaroring, of course. It could be hard to soft for all these hard runners, could be medium to soft even for these medium runners, could be soft to hard, soft to medium, whatever it is. I think all the strategies are pretty evenly matched. Medium soft seems to be the strongest last night in Division 2. It really helps out your just overall performance. As long as you can build up enough of a gap on the softer tires, then you can you can afford to suffer a little bit near the later stages of your stint. But right now, with all these drivers so close to each other, as Atomic nearly has a big moment, I think you can afford to be on any tire right now. You can probably extend your stint with these soft tires, these medium tires a little bit, just because you're being pulled along by other drivers so much and you don't have to push as hard. So I think right now, the people that will gain the most are the medium and soft runners, especially if these hard tire runners get stuck behind everyone else, which is exactly the case. So that is what I think of the strategy right now.
Yeah, I'm a bit skeptical, I'll be honest, about starting the race on softs with the full tank of fuel. So, again, last night my strategy went from medium to softs to medium. I could have gone for a second stint of softs at the third, on my second stint, or third actually I should say. As we're seeing a little bit of a battle in the back real quick, because I'm trying to keep an eye on the Coin and K, who's caught up to Eric Cavallo quite a lot. And I'm not even looking at the right person. There's a 3-way battle here. Johannes Ludwig taking a position from Cal Blevins. I believe he overtook Campbell as well. OG. And in P11 it is now Paul Mariage. And Delpha Romeo who overtook Aaron Altmaier. And so far, Gordon K has been able to put himself back into the DRS zone. I believe Arrow's tires, the soft tires, they tend to drop around lap between 9 and 11, depending on how hard you're pushing them and obviously the tire pressures. That'll be interesting to look at, but so far, Quentin K is back in the DRS, still not really in a position to overtake. He's trying to manage his battery a little bit. He's got the DRS here on the main straight. Ara's trying to break it off, a little bit of weaving on this straight. So far, it's permitted as far as he's not doing that on the braking zone. And so, yeah, if you want to be in a position to overtake, and we're about to see one here, potentially, Stellar's Repas trying to defend from both his teammate and the Aston Martin of Maxime Beaulieu and Colin Edwards. He is in the inside of Maxime Beaulieu. Will he be able to make a stick? Oh, there's a contact! There's a major contact from both of them, and both drivers have major damage, and we're going to have a full safety car.
That was absolutely wild. The contact absolutely sent both of the cars into the wall. I think that leaves, who was it? It was Maxime with no front wing and Colin Edwards with the missing right end plate. But absolutely huge contact for both drivers on a place that you don't normally see. It was on the second straight, really. And I didn't even really catch what the contact came from, but I just know that they ran into each other on a straight. And that is the worst case scenario for both of those drivers, but it does bunch up the field a little bit for drivers that need it, such as Chad Swindell, Ethan Tell, as Marcelo spins under the safety car through the chicane. He is really stuck in the grass, and now he's getting out of it. Other drivers that will gained, as looks like OG got an illegal overtake. Interesting. So Eric Cavallo comes to the pit, multiple 5-second time penalties. What could have just happened there?
A bunch of people got 5-second penalties. And I believe all that... Oh, wait. Oh, no.
What's happened? Tell me.
Marcel is P12 suddenly. He was behind OG a second ago. So I think Marcel had a terrible lag situation. Oh, yeah. He is
they all got a legal overtake?
And they all got
He's in the
illegal.
pits right now for me.
He was on the main street and suddenly appeared in the pit. So his
no.
internet, I believe, is causing major desync, and has caused incredible penalty times to a lot of drivers in front of him. Oh,
Well, what do we even do here?
that
Because I'm sure
is-
many of these drivers have to serve their time penalties, and yes, they do.
They
So
did.
these can't be removed by any stewards. So what do we do here? Do
Oh,
you think?
That is.
Do we restart the lobby? Do we look into it? I mean, 10 laps already done, and with an
That's-
issue that is definitely none of these drivers' fault.
That is something we're gonna have to look at, and already I don't know if Division 1 drivers are already on it, but that is gonna be an interesting call to make. I don't think there's gonna be any calls made by mods, and it's one of those situations where it's
Let the
really
race
unfortunate.
continue.
Yeah, yeah. However, I think Marcel Paps will get the usual steward's warning about internet connection. Unfortunately, Marcel had tried streaming or broadcasting Division 2, and broadcast never went through because of internet issues. And now we're seeing the same thing happening on track, and that's cost a lot of penalties. I think the good news in those circumstances is that it weren't in race conditions. It were penalties under the safety car, and so. And it was a whole group of drivers, so I guess you could kind of play with it, you know? I don't think there's any drivers who were... I mean, there's a lot happening at the same time, so I didn't see them all, but I think, Nathan, a lot of drivers are still in the proper position as they should be. You know, Maxime Beaulieu is P18, Colin Edwards P16. Those are drivers who just had a situation, they triggered a safety car.
I'm born in pits. What has happened here?
Johannes Ludwig is in the pits as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going on, and let me just go look at their penalties.
Oh, I understand what it is. Okay, so Johannes and Cam Bourne both pitted onto the soft tires on their first stint, maybe because they forgot to set their tires, but either way, it sets them back a big bunch. We'll go back with the penalties, though. In all honesty, the pack doesn't look too far changed from what it was beforehand. Someone who is furious, I'd imagine, though, is Maxime, because I think he was like P8, and then absolutely smashes his hopes of being in the top 10. As all these drivers come to bunch up in the field now, but unfortunate for Camborne, Johannes Ludwig, and yeah, so let the race continue. No restarts whatsoever. And I think we will be racing in 1 lap's time.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're waiting for Ryan Nugent to catch up to the bunch, and safety car is going to be in by the end of this lap. Interesting situation, though. Eric Cavallo and Quentin Kay has switched tire strategies, and I could confirm and promise you that I don't think neither of these drivers are going to go all the way to lap 35 on those tires. Neither on the mediums or the softs. The hards can go maybe those 24 laps, but I think it's became a 2-stop strategy for everybody. Although Paul Mariage is P3 currently, and aggressively trying to put temperature in his front tires, and so we'll see how. I'm gonna go on board with Quentin here. Let's see how Eric Cavallo restarts this race. Hopefully, there's not more incidents. That's my fear right now, Nathan. I'm just hoping that the little wacky incident that we had with Marcel's internet connection doesn't happen again and cause more of a situation. And away we go, and Quentin's on him, definitely. He's going to take advantage of this. He's on the battery, and he's got the slipstream. Will he try for maybe a dive down into turn 1? He's definitely got the close enough to do it. Oh, that was really close to an impact there, and it didn't happen. However, in the back, there has been an overtake on Paul Mariage, and Marc-Louis Bastien is back in P3. And so Paul Mariage, 11 lap-old hards. I think he's going to be looking at a lot of drivers behind him, overtaking him, and that's about to happen with Hudson Poole. Hudson Poole's going to try to make quick work of him in this kind of situation. He knows the driver in front of him is going to hold him up quite a lot. He doesn't want that pack to be separated, and look at him. He is all over his gearbox. Will he try maybe make an attempt into the chicane? He's going to play it safe this time. Maybe on the exit. Oh, you can see it. Paul is a little bit all over the track. His rear is already kind of sliding a little bit. I don't think he got the proper temperature he wanted on the race restart. And look at the pack separating from P1 down to P4, and Hudson Pool's going to try to dive on the inside here in turn 12s, and he does, and that's going to be P4 for him. So I don't think Paul Mariage's strategy is working for him currently, because he's about to lose positions to his teammate of Max, and Max is in P6, looking at P5 now. So there's definitely going to be a switch around going for the Alfa Romeos, at least there should be, if they are communicating. And look at the back of the pack, in the back of Max, he's just trailing a lot of cars in the back. So we're going to see a lot of action in turns 1 here. It is still a 1-2-3 for Eric, Quentin, and Marc-Olivier, and now Repas is in P8. Max did not overtake Paul Mariage, and that is rather surprising. That should have been maybe a switch around. Use Paul Mariage as a kind of barrier to allow Max to run away with it. I'm really surprised they haven't done that strategy call. That might be too late to make that. Those big brain moves have not happened with Alfa Romeo, and that may cost them a couple points by the end of this race, I think.
Yeah, and the McLarens just did a position change as well, but they also let Johannes Ledvig through. OG letting 2 instead of 1, but that is, I guess that's okay. So I think the reason Max didn't try and overtake is because when he did go for the switchback, into turn 1, there was an Aston Martin on his inside, so nothing he could have done. But I think now they switch positions, and yes, they do. And looks like Caleb Evans is even trying to get in the action. And now Sean Moriarty overtakes Marcel Pabst. Then almost an overtake happening from Colin Edwards on Magnussen Cube, but there's plenty of action going around here. So we have Hudson Pool, Marc-Olivier Bastien, Quentin K, and Era have all pulled away from the field quite significantly, I must say. But now Aaron Altmaier is going to try his luck on Paul Mariage here, and down the inside he goes. It should be a very easy move. Behind him we have more action with Sean Moriarty and Stelios Repas. And it looks like Stelios Repas will stay ahead for now. Other than that, any action behind, I don't think so. But
there is Caleb Evans overtaking Paul Mariage. He got a little bit of an impact on the AN side, kind of went for a dive bomb there. He doesn't want to be stuck behind the driver with the used tires, and he's right on behind Aaron Altmaier. I think Caleb Evans is maybe driving a little angry. He's back in P7, by the way, after having been caught in an incident with Cam Bourne, and so that safety car really helps Red Bull. Not so much for Chad Swindell, who's currently in P15 behind Maxime Beaulieu. And but he's got quite a pack in front of him. He's gonna try to take advantage of the hard tires going a bit longer in this kind of situation. And so 3-second time penalties have been happening for drivers, and we're just gonna go update that real quick. Where am I? I'm not even touching the right thing. Hold on, I'm going everywhere. Here you go, Magnussen, Cam Bourne, OG, and is Cam Bourne involved in? Oh, it's a battle between him and Chad Swindell. Looks like he lost a position to Maxime Beaulieu. I don't know if he had a moment coming out of turns 12.
Hold on, look at this. So into turn 1, we have from Sean Moriarty all the way. It's a 4-car battle in between the Alfa Romeo, not the Alfa Romeo, the AlphaTauri, the Haas, the Ferrari. Everything is happening here. Yeah. Into turn 2, it looks like Stelios Repas will try and go around the outside, but Marcel Pabst is trying to make a move of his own. And even more cars getting in on this action now. They were going too wide from about 2 rows back, and now Paul Mariage gets absolutely thrown around here. And now he's behind the legs of Cam Bourne, and now Chad Swindell is trying to challenge him. We have a car going wide that's an Aston Martin. Didn't lose any positions out of that, but it has not worked out for Paul Mariage whatsoever since that moment down into turn 4. It might have been turn 3 actually, and he's been going down ever since. But plenty of action. I think we'll even see more coming very soon between Marcel Pabst, Repas, and Magnussen Cube.
Yeah.
From what we just saw into turn 1, we are not short of action with those 4 drivers whatsoever.
Well, we got to keep an eye on this whole train, because definitely once we go into turn 1, there's a lot of action going on there. However, Eric Vallo is still in P1. Quentin K is now lost a lot of time to the Williams of Marc-Olivier Bastien, and Marc-Olivier Bastien is going to try to make a move, and he will. Into turn 1 he does, and so he's going to go for P2, so Quentin K's lost quite a bit of pace there. Let's go back on board with positions 8, 9, and 10, going down the route there, trying to see who's... They're all in a train, and so far everybody's kind of being safe about it. Chad Swindell also got a 3-second time penalty, and then behind him there's a bit of a battle between Paul Mariage and what is that? Johannes Ludwig, who's trying to get on his inside, but he's going to defend even more, and that kind of a situation there.
Yeah, making plenty of contact, those two drivers. Not shy whatsoever of a little bit of rubbing his racing. But other than that, no action from those four that we were talking about earlier. But Chad Twindell is trying to make his way up the field as he does have a time penalty now, so he really has to get on with it. And I think right now with this position that he's in, 7-lap old hard tires, I think he can make it into the end. It will be pretty tough for him though to make it all the way to the end. At least those final laps will be very difficult for him. Drivers like Kyle Blevins and Quincy K, I mean, they're on the soft tires, which can definitely not run to the end, at least if you're trying to run all four of them. But I think they could still be trying to make overtakes here because Quinton K is still a bit pacey with his soft tires, so is Kyle Blevins, but he's also the third car in the DRS train, which is never helpful. Then other than that, we do have more action, so Magnussen Cube trying to run the outside of Stelios Repaz, but he goes too wide onto the curb, and now he has the other AlphaTauri, Colin Edwards, going around the outside, and that is a very clean move from him, indeed. And then the Aston Martin of Maxime almost flying into the back of the Williams. That puts Cam Bourne onto the back of him, but it doesn't help him whatsoever to make an overtake there. And that's all the action.
The AlphaTauris are really working really good together. Stel Repas has gained 7 positions. Colin Edwards has gained 3 on his end, and so both drivers are following each other on different tire strategies, and they're really helping each other. Colin Edwards had to push a little bit to make sure he got past Magnussen Q, but now he could help defend his teammate, and they're really working well together. And so far, they're having a good race given the circumstances.
Yeah, no time penalties for the pair either, unlike Magnussen Cube, Cam Bourne, Chad Twindell, driving a very clean race as teammates. And we both know these drivers kind of well. I mean, Stelios Repaz a bit less than Colin Edwards, but we know Colin Edwards is a very good team guy. I think this is why that we see these two working so well together. I mean, even if it's only 10th and 11th, there's still good points for the AlphaTauri team. And if I'll check the constructors' standings real quick, I will look here, and they do need these points. So they are 7th with 15 points, and this could help them in their fight with Aston Martin right now. As it stands, I think they would be ahead, but I'm not too sure. It's very close between those two teams.
Yeah, the driver to not ignore currently is Hudson Poole. He's sitting P4, and he's caught up incredibly to Quinton K, who's on lap 8 out of his soft tires. They're just about giving out, and right now the hard tires are a lot more performant than this kind of situation. Like at Hudson Poole, he's gained about, I think, 5/10 just in this first half of a lap already, and so he's going to be all over his rear by turn 14 and into the DRS zone. And so I think Quinton K is going to be losing yet another position. The pole sitter, or the driver who started on pole, he's going to be looking outside of the podium positions currently. In just about a moment, the overtake is going to happen. So I think Quinton K may have to consider a potential lunge into the pits within the next couple laps. I would believe so. But here he is, completely vulnerable, and Hudson Poole's definitely got the battery power to use it, and he's using plenty. Make sure he's way ahead of him going to turns 1, and there it is. There's a switch. So Hudson Poole, who had started P9 by the way, is now sitting in the podium position in P3. So he's taking advantage of that situation. There's an Aston Martin in the back who's gone around. There's Aaron Altmaier trying to see.
He's beached himself too.
Yeah, trying to catch him. Oh, he is completely beached. So he had to reset to track. Yeah, so under our zero rules, this is an exception, right? Usually we set him to track warrants a 5-second time penalty. In this situation, he's beached, and so obviously it was either retiring or resetting to track. So we're permitting the reset to track. In this kind of situation, he's dropped down to P19. Really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he's been on the battery through these past 5 corners, and he's absolutely drained it now.
Oh, he has.
And he's still on it too, so I don't think he knows that he's on the battery at the moment. He needs to get someone to tell him to turn it off here, because he might be in for a spin, and he almost is through that. So definitely needs to turn it off. I hope he'll notice sometime soon. We'll wait until he does. I mean, he's at 0% now. He's going to be wondering why his car is traveling so slowly in a little bit here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think somebody should send him an email.
Yeah, I mean, Toto, can you check your email? I could send him one right now, but I won't. And he goes into the pits, and he's going to have his battery on by the time he is into his pit box as well. So, funny moment with Aston Martin driver. and finally turned off, and it had to be done by the game. But yeah, so reset the track. I mean, of course, we saw that he was completely beached. I was very clear with that. So that is why he won't get a penalty, I'd assume. But that only helps all the drivers behind him. I mean, the two AlphaTauris still on their team charge. You know, teamwork is the dreamwork type timing right there. Then Marcel Paps is right in front of them, but also right behind Sean Moriarty, is it? And yeah, he's probably going to be looking for an overtake here. The hard tire is definitely better around the circuit than any other tire at the moment, other than Aaron Altmaier's soft tires, of course.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I understand him going on the soft tires, probably trying to go for fastest lap, but 15 lap on softs, he's going to find it painful at the end. Cam Bourne almost got on board with him, and he almost completely lost it into turns, outside of turns 5, so that almost got a situation there. So, really interesting what's happening up front, and now Max, our Division 2 driver, is now past Quinton K. Quinton K is actually in the pits, so both Quinton and Cal Blevins are in the pits. They went 11 laps onto their soft tires, and so they are going onto mediums. Both drivers onto mediums, and so that will lead them till the end of the race. And so what happens at this point is every other driver, I expect they're gonna go into the pits. I mean, technically speaking, the mediums is a high risk situation going from lap. You know, they're already 11 lap holds for most drivers going to lap 35. So what, another 14 laps? Going 25 laps on mediums, not recommended. Going 25 laps on the hards, you can make it happen. Will you have any grip? Absolutely not. You're going to be understeering and oversteering constantly. And so I think we're going to see a lot of overtakes from Quinton K, from Cal Blevins, under those kind of circumstances. But that'll be something we'll have to keep tabs on for the remainder of the race, as it has switched to a two-stop strategy given the safety car that came in earlier due to an incident between, I forget the drivers. It was Maxime Beaulieu and who was the other? It was an Alpine, I believe.
Me, man.
I forget who it was. Yeah, it was Maxime and it was Colin Edwards, I believe. Yeah, they were both drivers actually who got caught out in an incident, left a lot of debris on the track, triggered a safety car. Which, by the way, you know, they're 7th and 9th respectfully. So even with the penalty that was kind of a ghost penalty, given the little desync we had earlier, so far it's been so good. But I don't want to. I will try to not jinx nobody, no broadcast cursing, because Division 3 there was a lot of that going on between me and combined. And we have Ethan Patel, who has left the session. That's something we've seen earlier on this weekend as well. Ethan Patel losing connection of the race and not being able to join back. So we'll see what happens with Ethan Patel. So far, not having a great race, P16, and losing connection now. So that's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, so you said it'd be pretty difficult for the medium tire runners for the end of the race, but it's looking so bad for the hard tire runners right now. I'm on board with Cam Bourne because of course I am, and he's having moments left and right, as is Megson Cube ahead of him and Chad Swindell right behind him. So plenty of action still to happen. All these drivers will be struggling with their tires at the end, no matter what compound it is. And so Colin Edwards into the pits, actually. He's probably going onto the soft tires. We'll go on board with him as he goes into the pits here. We'll see whether it is the red sidewall tire or not. And that looks like the medium, so he's going for a bit of a different strategy. I mean, yeah, we'll definitely take him to the end, but he will have lots of ground to make up, especially with the pack ahead of him being so far ahead at the moment.
Yeah, that was the kind of situation I was in last night. So just about lap 21, 22, my soft tires were... The degradation on the soft tires was absolutely horrendous, and so I immediately switched to mediums, knowing it would carry me until the end of the race. And I made up just about, I believe, 7 or 8 positions from lap 23 on to lap 35. And so we'll see where Colin Edwards ends. He's currently P18. There's definitely drivers in front of him who will have to pit as well. He's got the fresher tires. He doesn't have a penalty. You know, the Hungaroring is being very technical and drivers really pushing to the limits. We've seen that all weekend. A lot of penalties being distributed to drivers for track limits. And so far, we've got no less than 7 drivers with 3-second time penalties. So if you keep it clean and you get closer to drivers in front of you, you'll be able to make it work and claim it in a couple positions. And definitely drivers, there's some penalties that will be handed out post race as well, because there has been incidents in the last couple, in the first couple laps. And Marcel Paps has done an overtake, by the way, on Sean Moriarty and the Haas. So for P5, and the Haas is now P6 currently, although it is a good race currently for 007 Prof as it stands. But all these drivers, I mean, I'm expecting every single one of these drivers to go back into the pit. So from Eric Cavallo down to Cam Bourne, they should be going back into the pits, because the tire grip advantage is going to be so big that it's definitely going to help gain positions. And Nathan, you went, wow, what's going on?
Yeah, so I mean, Quinton K, he's got the tire advantage, as you said, but he's right behind Cam Bourne. He's really trying to get past, and he's having huge moments, just really pushing to the limit, trying to get the edge on the exit here, and he'll get it here. I think he will. And down the inside of this corner, I'm pretty sure it's turn 12, forces Cam Bourne wide, but I don't think there'll be a penalty for that. So we'll see if anyone dives into the pit here, and it doesn't look like anyone will. But I think that is the right strategy call right now, because either you're struggling on the medium tires, the hard tires, whatever it is, or you're at least doing okay. Like, at least you can drive the car on your new tires. So as Cal makes it past Johannes Ludwig, who's got a penalty, so what happened anyway? We have plenty of action still happening with this DRS train that we've come back to time and time again for action. And just with how, like, late these drivers can brake, if anyone messes it up here, then they're going right into the back of another driver, which could cause a whole nother thing. So you want to be very careful no matter what kind of advantage you have with your tires. Just want to be careful of the driver ahead of you, behind you, and just pray that they don't rear end you.
Yeah, definitely. It's very drivable here, and Hungary behind on the dirty air, and the tire advantage is way, way greater for Quinton K. We're seeing he's all over the rear of Chad Swindell. He's practically in his gearbox. Chad is trying to hang on, and his tires is giving him... Oh, there's a moment there for Chad. He almost sent his car into the wall. Into turn 12, we can have another dive into the inside, and Quinton K is pushing his car so hard. Hopefully, he doesn't... hopefully for him, he doesn't wear out his medium tires there, or even burn them up, because he's able to have the better exits and take advantage of his grip there. I'm shocked I have not seen drivers going through the pit, so I think we're going to see drivers just trying to go long here, which is maybe surprising, but it is what it is. But so far, Cal Blevins is also gaining another position. Cam Bourne has lost 2. He's dropped down to P14. Cal Blevins is now up in P12, so he ends up behind Quinton K, a little bit of ways behind, and Quinton has still not been able to overtake Chad Swindell. He's trying everything he can, and that's not working so far. Chad is being able to defend on the main straight, mainly because of the... Oh, and there is a contact here, and so he does get by him, but that's going to be a push to shove kind of situation. And a bit of a wiggle. Yeah, a little bit of a wiggle. I don't know if that was taunting him or what was going on there, but...
Hey, sorry, but...
that was...
Yeah, he's shenanigans, and it looks like he's going to go for another move. Maxon Cube is probably shaking in his boots right now, in his Puma branded motorsport boots, as he sees a Haas go past him into this corner. Does the Red Bull follow it through? Yes, he does, but I don't know if he'll have it. If he goes around the outside, maybe for a switchback. Kyle Blevins just trying to do his best to make up more positions, maybe let his Red Bull teammate through. Will he get the good exit like we saw from Quinton K last straight, though? I mean, Quinton K will get his own good exit, but he doesn't have much battery, and he's going side by side with Stelios Repas, but the pace is just not there in a straight line, as it was for Kyle Blevins. But now he's gone wide, has Stelios Repas, and Quinton K is going to go for it again, but on the battery, will Stelios Repas be able to fight back? And no, he didn't even have DRS, so I don't know what the case was there. But whatever it was, did not help him in his fight. But now Kyle Blevins is right behind Stelios Repas, and Kyle Blevins is a bit more laid back than Quinton K has been on these new medium tires, but I wonder if he'll go for a move on these exits here. Right there, Quinton K tried to make a move in that corner, but Caleb Evans decides not to, so just played it safe right now.
Yeah, definitely. So far, Quentin K has been making up a lot of positions in front, and he wants to get past as many drivers as possible because after getting past Maxime Beaulieu, as he does now, he's got ways to go to his teammate. He's got about 6 seconds behind, and the time is starting to run out, and so he's getting a lot. He was driving very aggressively, trying to make up those positions. And Kyle Blevins is now battling with Stellis Repas on the outside of turn 13. He's going to try to go on the inside of turn 14. He's got the DRS off of Maxime Beaulieu as well, so he's going to have the better exit there. And he makes it work. And maybe even Magnussen Cube is going to make a move on Stelios, and that'll be 2 positions lost for him. And so for AlphaTauri, so far, it's been going kind of wrong for them. They're having a bit of they're definitely dropping down on the grid, and even with Colin Edwards, he's got the fresher tires, but he is still lap P17. When he pitted, he was P18, so has not taken advantage of this situation so far. However, look at this, we're lap 28, and that'll be really interesting to keep an eye on. And the 2 teammates, Sean Moriarty, 18 laps on those mediums. I know for a fact those mediums probably don't have much grip anymore already. They're drivable, just not a lot of grip. And look at how quick Quentin is closing in the gap on his teammate. He was in the beginning of this lap about 6.5 seconds away from him. He's gained about 2 seconds, and Stellis Rapas looks like there's an incident in the back. I don't know if he spun or had a moment. Oh, that was Colin Edwards. Yeah, he did spin it, so Stellis Rapas is now sitting P17, completely loses it, unfortunately. And we're going to see more of that. I think, Nathan, we're going to see more of that. There's 6 laps to go. There's quite a battle in the middle of the pack, and that's going to be causing some situations where drivers, if a driver locks up and the domino effect it might have with drivers behind him, I think that could cause some situations as it is there. Quentin K versus his teammate Sean Moriarty is now at 4 seconds, so 2.5 seconds gained on 1 lap. He's going to be he's early in lap 2, and I think Stellis is going for the pits. That's the right strategy, just maybe 5 laps too late.
Yeah, you really need to pit earlier there, but it doesn't matter because all these drivers on the tires that they're on right now, they probably won't pit because, I mean, it's just not worth it at this point, losing 20 seconds and you have very little time to gain it back. But these medium tires, man, I am not too sure if they can make it, or at least not in good condition. I'd say they're probably around 70%, the ones at 19 laps right now. It's going to be really, really tough for, I mean, crucial drivers like Eric Cavallio. He could still be looking at not even a win here, but he could maybe even drop out of the podium entirely. Actually, no, that's a bit too far, but maybe even down as far as P3. I think that was Colin Edwards and Cam Bourne having a bit of a tussle, making contact into turn 12. But yeah, so Maxime, the leader of this DRS train, I mean, he's the most vulnerable driver. He's one of them on this track. So if he can keep it ahead, it will be a very impressive feat. But he's got the likes of Magnussen Cube and Chad Twindell even on the back of him. And just look at the straight line difference. I mean, the Aston Martin doesn't stand a chance. And with those tires that he's on right now, he's not going to stand, well, even any more chance than he does right now. So nothing is in his favor at the moment. It looks like we do have another battle with Paul Marriage, though, on the new-ish medium tires around the outside of Cam Bourne into turn 4. He's side by side now onto the battery. He's going to make it into turn 4, and he's made it. Good overtake from the Alfa Romeo driver. You hate to see it as a McLaren team principal, but it is what it is. I can respect the move.
Yeah, and Cam Bourne is struggling with his rears at this point. The hard tires are giving him a bit of a hard time at this moment. And going back to Quentin K, it's 1.5 seconds away, so he's going to be making up at least another position. And I think what's maybe slowing him down is that his teammate in front of him got DRS off of Marcel Paps, and so Quentin K is going to be looking to try to get back into the top 5 at this point, and we'll see how much his medium tires are carrying him up further on the grid. A driver we've not spoken about much about this race who's had a calm and quiet race, just, you know, doing the overtakes he's had to do, and who's also gained 11 positions so far in this race. Look at Max, Division 2 driver, most potentially the Division 2 champion, very easily, too early in the season to be talking about that, but one of the better drivers on Division 2, one of the top picks, and and he is now sitting P4 in a Division 1 race, and so he's still on his one-stop strategy. He's doing well. He's on his hard tires. Didn't get in trouble with incidents and whatnot, and I'm sure team principal of Alfa Romeo, Friedrich is rather content with this one.
Yes, absolutely. And still, with 4 laps to go, there's plenty of action still to be had, even at the front where we focus a little on. So we have Marc-Olivier gaining on Era very slowly, but we also have Hudson Poole right behind him as well. So these two drivers could be looking to maybe even be in the fight for the win. With 4 laps to go and those 21-lap-old medium tires, Eric Carvalho really needs to hold it out here. 22 laps now. It's going to be very, very difficult for the Alpine driver to keep it. I mean, keep it on track is one thing, keep it ahead of 2 other drivers that are arguably faster is another thing as well. So he has the task ahead of him, but Chad Swindell is making his tires work, and now behind him, Colin Edwards is trying to go around the outside of Magnussen Cube, the two Haas's swapping positions into turn 1. Doesn't matter though, we're focused on this battle as they are pretty much drag racing down into turn 1. Will we see a dive down the inside from Colin Edwards? Yes, we will. Look at that send down on the Red Bull driver, but they make contact, and now he's spun around is Colin Edwards, and now Magnussen Cube is spinning around. And so Magnussen Cube fully around, and he was just a bystander to all of that, to his own demise, you could say. And Paul Mariage gets absolutely slammed the door on by Colin Edwards, who just spins into the wall and hits the wall. I think he has plenty of damage. No, he doesn't actually, but
how does he not have a smashed wing? How?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Man.
if that was me, I'd probably have a broken front suspension as well.
I don't know. That had some Romain Grosjean energy in there. He somehow has a completely intact car, and he walks away from that rough hit on the barrier completely. I assume maybe we don't see it, but he maybe has some light green damage. But still, and yeah, Colin Edwards is maybe fighting too hard, considering the fact that he had the fresher tires compared to the other drivers in front of him. And so not only does Magnussen Cubes is victim of maybe a bit of a dive bomb, and the contact will have to be reviewed probably, but now we're looking at Colin Edwards tumble down the order. And so for AlphaTauri, really unfortunate. They were sitting 9 and 10 or 10 11, whichever was midway through the race. And they've now dropped down to P16 and P19 due to spins and other incidents. Quentin K is now moved up to P5. He's still got 2 laps to go. He's going to be hunting Max, but definitely he's going to be missing out on the podium, so he won't be good enough for the podium, unfortunately. He's going to try to catch up to Max. He's got about two laps to go, 2.5 laps to go. So hopefully he does that without too many incidents. And Max is, what is that, less than 3 seconds inside in the back of Max. So far, Marc-Olivier Bastien, as you mentioned earlier, slowly but surely is catching Eric Carvalho. He's been able to keep Hudson Poole at bay so far for 1.2 seconds. Although Hudson's got a definitely better exit there on turn 14 and is gaining on him. And I think Hudson also has... Also, shockingly, and usually Hudson's much more conservative on his battery, but he's been using his ERS completely. And Eric Carvalho has been harvesting his ERS quite a lot. So I think Marc-Olivier is going to get close to him, but not close enough to even be battling him. Eric Carvalho going 25 laps on those mediums. I'm very surprised on how he's done that. Very shocked, and definitely kudos to him for doing that. And the other drivers going 25 laps on those medium tires. We'll have to ask him later in the interviews, Nathan, how he's done that in this race, because keeping it on track with 25 lap old mediums, yeah, I don't have that skill level.
I mean, I'm sure that's going to be one among 20 billion other things that we'll hear during the interview, but yeah, definitely going to have to ask him about his Checo Perez tire management skills here. Right now though, I mean, Marc-Olivier Bastien, he's just not closing fast enough, I don't think. I mean, he's into the DRS now, but he's going to need some kind of miraculous dive bomb to be able to make it past that Alpine. But we'll go on board with him now. He's around about 9/10 behind. So now both of these drivers are actually into the DRS. So Hudson Poole, I mean, whatever is to be had here, as the audio is doing some funny things with me. Whatever it is to be had for Marc-Olivier Bastien here, he needs to make it happen very soon. If it's not through these 2 corners, he's going to have very low chance, and as he sees the Alpine just go away from him. He's wiggling around a little bit, and I don't think he'll have enough opportunities to make an overtake happen unless Eric Cavallo does something uh, almost movie-like at the end, and we have more action between Kyle Blevins, who's been, I mean, he was very wide out of turn one. Now more overtakes between Paul Marriage and Maxime Beaulieu. So now he's been left behind as Aston Martin driver. Okay, so 6 tenths, and he's gone very deep through the chicane. So that is pretty much his entire contention over, and it looks like it's gonna be an Eric Cavallo win, the first of the season, but he's got only 3 more corners to go after this. So, 25 lap old medium tires all the
Oh,
way to the
Hudson
end. Hudson
Poole.
Poole now with a
That's a
time penalty.
3-second time penalty. Really unfortunate for him. And around turns 13 and now 14 around he goes. Eric Carvalho. Yeah, he had the battery advantage, so he's going to go around and he's going to claim his win. His maiden win in this 8th season of ZRL. Eric Cavallo wins the Hungary Grand Prix. It is Marc-Olivier Bastien, another P2 finish for him. Hudson Poole in P3, and so a good finish for the top 3. And will Max be able to successfully defend versus Quinton? And yes, he does. If Quinton just had 100 more meters of track, he would have been past him, I believe. Quinton K in P5. Marcel Paps, a good recovery for him after an incident early in the race. P6. Sean Moriarty, P7. Cobb Evans, P8. Paul Mariage dropping down the order due to penalties. So it is going to be Maxime Beaulieu, Ryan Newton. Also a good race for Ryan Newton, given the situation. He had spun and had to pit twice to fix his front wing. He finishes P10. Good race for him given those circumstances. Paul Mariage, P11. Chad Swindell, disappointing for him. P12. So going from a race-winning performance, or almost a race-winning performance, to P12, a little bit more consistency, I think Duncan would want to have from his Red Bull drivers. Cam Born P13, Johannes Ludwig, Colin Edwards, Magnus and Q P16, Aaron Altmaier. Disappointing race, I think, for the Aston Martins. Aaron was well within the top 10. And had a spin. We're going to look at the bottom 5 drivers in just a second. Driver of the day, Maxime Beaulieu. And the top 3 drivers, Nathan, I'm sure you're going to have him prepped for interview in just a couple moments.
Oh, yes, sir. And I told Era before the race that I'd be looking forward to all of his analogies in the commentating box. No comment otherwise.
Yeah, OG Campbell has finished in P18. Still Repas, who had quite a good race so far, about 3/4 of the race, and bottled it. P19. Ethan Patel disconnected, didn't rejoin the race, finishes dead last. All right, we'll set up for interviews. Just a moment's time. See if we have anybody in the waiting room.
Not yet.
Not yet, so we'll just give them a moment. They're probably having their
Here.
discussion.
So I've done the math here. So Hudson Poole will be leading the championship, but Eric Cavallo is 3 points behind him, and 1 point behind him is Marc-Olivier Bastien. So
Great.
our podium drivers are on the podium on the standings as well, but we're going to bring in the man who's leading the championship right now, Mr. Hudson Poole. How is P3 feeling tonight here?
I'm honestly happy with it. I did not practice for this race. I think I did like an hour on like Monday night, and then I did like 30 minutes today, and then I barely made it. That's why I barely made it here, because I was at a hockey game and I had a I was taking a shower, and then I managed to get my rig like mid-session. So I'm pretty happy with the result, especially with the qualifying I did, and it was horrible. Dude, I could have gone Mark. My screen froze and it literally lost me like a second, and I feel like I could have had him, but he had insane pace today. Era picking those tires was also crazy.
Yeah, really interesting kind of pace you had there. A bit, I think you weren't very happy with your qualifying pace, but you found your race pace, especially midway. How did the safety car affect your race strategy, Hudson?
It didn't really change much. It just we pitted a lot earlier than we were going to. Um, I don't know if Quentin accidentally went to the softs or what happened. I don't know why he went to the softs there, but um, yeah. And then I thought Arrow was gonna get a puncture easy going to the mediums, but he proved me wrong.
Yeah, so with those hard tires, I'm sure they didn't feel too great as well. I mean, I saw a lot of hard tire runners having plenty of moments, but that's not what I'm going to focus on. So right now you are leading the championship by 3 points. I did the math after Hungary. So with Singapore coming up in 2 weeks, do you think that you could be in pretty strong contention there as well, or is it a track that you don't really do too well at? What are your thoughts on the track?
I am usually pretty good at Singapore. Last time I raced it in ZRL, I won by like 10 seconds, so it's a pretty good record. It's a really flowy track. I really like it. Street circuit. So I expect to do good. I'm thankful that we do not have a race this next week because I will be out of town, so it's kind of lines up perfect. And yeah, we'll try our best at Singapore, which I think we could get a pretty good result.
Yeah, Singapore is going to be in 2 weeks' time, actually, because we have got an off week next weekend. Singapore for another technical track, this time on a street circuit. Very popular among ZRL drivers, so I think it's one of the tracks you do enjoy, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it is also one of the tracks I enjoy very much. Hudson Pool, congratulations once again for P3 and definitely holding on to the league lead championship. Congratulations
Yep,
again.
thank you.
Good night.
Yep.
All right, P2
All right.
finisher, Nathan.
Yep, we have Mr. Marc-Olivier Bastien. Welcome into the interview booth. P2 for you today. Think you had any more in it?
It's hard to tell because maybe one less lap on that stint. I was one more lap and I was in puncture range, so pretty much all the hard stint I was just cruising. Oh, Hudson was catching me, so I was pushing a bit. And at the end, of course, I was catching, but if I was pushing more into that stint, I would have get a puncture. So I don't know how he did 26 lap on medium. That's impressive because he had less wear than me on my hards. But yeah, P2 is still a very decent result from P5 on a grid. Somehow on lap 1, I had no damage. I was able to brake when I think it was Chad who spun in front of me. He ghosted at the last minute, so no damage there, but I was behind Cal after that, and I had to catch the top 2. They were 3 seconds already in front of me, so maybe the win was possible today, but P2 will take it.
Yeah, most definitely a good race on your part. Marco, with retrospect, when the safety car happens, if you're looking at your race again, would you have pitted for that for the extra fresher tires, or would you still stuck with your strategy of going long on the hard tires?
No, I think it was the right strategy. We saw with Quentin. I don't know why. On the first in Arrow, I was pushing like crazy on those soft, and when Quentin used the soft, I was like, oh damn, he's gonna push, he's gonna break the RS on everybody. But no, he was super slow for some reason. I was even, I think I overtake him like 3 laps after the safety car, or maybe more. I don't know, but I at some point he was just super slow, and he boxed for what, medium after?
Yeah.
And he was stuck in traffic, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what happened at that point.
Yeah, so yeah, hard was the way to go.
Yeah, so one more question from me. So in 2 weeks' time, Singapore is coming around. I know it's a difficult track, but how are you going to approach it? Is it a track that you enjoy or not really?
Yeah, I'm 2 podium in 2 race there in ZRL. So that's a track that is not for pad player, but surprisingly, I love it. I think I'm doing well there. I don't know why, but yeah, looking forward to Singapore, and I'll have to get some decent result because I think I'm missing Spa the week after Singapore. So it'll be my first race I'll miss in ZRL. I'll be at Parc Jean Drapeau having a great time in a festival. So yeah, so I'll have to work harder to get more points there because in this point system in ZRL, 35 points is a lot, and that's 35 that I won't get for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately for that kind of situation, but if there is a kind of driver that could climb back into podium or top 3 in the league and potentially even get the league lead, it is this man right here, Maccabi Bastien. Thank you again, Felicitasio. Thank you for your time, our P2 finisher, and we'll see you again potentially in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, Nathan. Merci, Ranger.
Yep.
It is race winner time. You could bring in Eric Cavallo.
Yeah, one question though. Where is he gonna be? I did not get your thing. I just know that it was French.
In Montreal and at a festival. That's where he's gonna be. Montreal's a cool place to be.
Alright, Epic. Take a swig if you still have any last. You're gonna need it. But here
I'm
we
chugging
go,
at this
Mr. Mr. Eric Cavallo in the interview booth once again. This time for a win. How are you doing, Era?
Hey, good night, everybody. Oof. Sweetie race. Oh. This one really made me tired. Oh, boy. I should not have asked for a better lap for a safety car. Just really nailed it. Was perfect for me. Maybe one lap later would be even better. But yeah, was very good, very good. I was in danger by the end, but I was saving my tires. I was saving battery to defend. By the end, I knew that my tires won't be dead. So, oh boy. I don't know what happened with Quinton. His strategy was really bad. He was so fast. I could not get him on the soft tires on the first stint. He was so damn fast. But his strategy was... I really don't understand what he tried to do. And his soft tires, I think he had very bad overheating because he could not make that soft tires work. And that was great for me. That was great. I could win some time on and gap Mark and Hudson. And that was very good for me. Oh, I think that's it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. With those medium tires, 25 laps old, I mean, what an amazing job to manage those tires. Do you know what percent they were at the end?
Yeah, I was talking with Mark, and Mark had even higher wear. He had 75, I think he told me. I'd had 70, 71 maybe. I don't know if it's due to setup or tire pressure. Because I work a lot with tire pressure. It's one of the things that I changed the most from TT setups and race and qualifyings. And I really take care of my tires by the end of the medium stints. So it paid out. I think one more lap and Mark and Hudson would get me because the pace was very bad on the medium tires. Medium tires on 70 is not the same as hards on 70. Hards on 70% wear will work better because they tend to go near 85 and for a puncture range, and mediums from 75 they already are on puncture range and they are already dead.
Alright, we're
Alright.
gonna have an off weekend next weekend, and after that it is Singapore. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Singapore is one of the tracks you prefer.
Yes, my
Yeah.
favorite track. My favorite tracks are Singapore, Monaco,